Well, hello. I am in my room, not in my front room, because there's fans going. Because I'm desperately trying to dry an oil painting so that I can ship it out. So we're gonna do it in here, which like I do tarot in my bedroom all the time. Um, I mess around in my safe space of my bedroom often. Uh, and I feel like Virgo season is kicking some ass in a lot of critical contexts. I feel like, I don't know, it's just been like very hard on ourselves kind of vibe. Uh, yeah, it's been rough. But yeah, so we're gonna pull some cards and see what the fuck is up. If you were sitting here with me, across from me, I would be telling you that there's no need for any specific questions. Just your vibe is all I really need to pick up on. Now breathe with me. So that we can push that. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is Justice. With an 8. This reoccurring 8. This infinite and well-balanced 8. And the scales of emotions. And it's a heart and a blue rose. So it's your heart and your intuition. And she is very trusting of hers. In fact, she is a part of the sky. Up her sleeves is like the dusk and the stars underneath her. And she has this wild hair. This wild hair and this golden sunset. And very similar to the purple in the sky and the purple of her sleeves is this purple blindfold. And I do feel like that, like... Okay, and then we have Page of Wands and King of Pentacles. So very literally this tangible, earthy, coming from this fiery maker and creative energy. And with the red rose, much like this heart. And the red rose of passion and the blue rose of intuition is exactly how we get that purple. I feel like we're putting all of this trust into our physical emotions. And rather than it being something that's empowering, because we have strength, but it's like this, rather than it be empowering, it finds us in more of a place of where what we're lacking, or where it's not manifesting, or where it's not coming to fruition. All of these knots, things that we intend not becoming. And he is a light, but there's so much darkness around him. In contrast to, they're both redheads too. In contrast to this bright, bright, bright sunset of justice. Yeah, I feel like we're having problems executing. Maybe we're juggling a lot of tasks, or there's a lot of things a lot of pies we have our fingers in, because it is a time of experimenting. But often I think that's leaving projects unfinished or untouched. And below the strength we have the Queen of Wands. So it's very much like we know we have the capacity for it. Oh my gosh. And she is so blinged out. We know that we have the capacity for it, and maybe we're striving for a physical manifestation of it. And this King of Pentacles vibe with this Queen of Wands. Striving for a physical manifestation that is more showy than what we have, but maybe for the wrong reasons. Yeah, because he's not nearly as blingy. What he has to offer is this creature, this pet almost, and then he wears it on his crown. And again, we kind of have this fiery pharaohic mane kind of going on. And so, okay, this wasn't darkness. If you look at the sky above him, and then around him, it's almost like the clearest points are right above him. And maybe that's exactly what it is. Like the brightest point of the fire isn't necessarily darkness, but it's this clarity, this almost like pristine, like HD kind of vision. But we're not trusting what that intention is, or we're misdirecting that intention, looking for the wrong kind of physical, the wrong kind of showy, and overwhelmed that nothing's coming to fruition. But because we're juggling so much, and when you have that much going on, it's easy to fall into, I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, and being very, very, very critical of yourself. And that's not a good place to go. That's not the vibe that you want to sit in. And not a vibe or a voice that you can trust. Like the kind of voice that we aspire to is justice, being, very fine and very balanced. And there's a lot of major players here. So I get the feeling that there's a lot of comparison in the way that other people are manifesting their wealth or their prizes or what have you. And the thing about just passion that's not tangibly manifesting in the way that you want is it's just like at its heart, it's just desire, and it's just you know, raw creativity, but that when misused or unused or overused will doesn't like it doesn't go through necessarily the door that you want it to. That raw, unadulterated passion and love and what desire and creativity can turn into rage and anger when it's not used to its greatest strengths, and its strengths not being like brashness, because he's probably, you know, the most humble in this gathering, and then you have this strength where like she becomes, or this character becomes one with it, and it's, you know, calming and curious, and you know, clear skies again. You know, there's no fog, there's no distortions, there's no glares, there's no smog. It's like HD kind of perception, but it's the kind of perception that we're closing our intuition off to, and not trusting the things that we need to finish and get out or put down and wait till later or what have you. And a lot of funny expectations. Even all of this, he's like tangled in all of that hair, and it's like being caught in everybody else's vibe. And that is not where you want to be. That is not what cultivates. That is not what gives room for your vibe, or gives room for your needs. And it's very easy to be caught in that, I don't know, craziness, toxicity. Leo season just ended, which is a beautiful season. Yeah, I feel like stepping out of that is almost like this day and night smog to clarity, or clarity to smog, and now we're being way too hard on ourselves, if that makes sense. I'm gonna do numbers. Is what we're gonna do. So we know the vibes. We're caught in a lot of vibes, but what are the steps to deal? Okay, so the difference from those times is, it's like, at first it was like a pressure, an even pressure, like a hot cooker, I guess, what that must feel like. And it's gotten more sporadic again, so I feel like that's a lot of that Seven of Cups. And when we have this 8, when we have this 8, the Seven of Cups is, I feel like, again, we're like falling short of a lot of things. 7's a beautiful number. It's definitely like a powerful, angelic manifestation number, all these things. But it's also odd about, like, imbalanced to some degree. It's one of those transitional numbers where it's time to take all that you have and give, or cut what's not fucking working. And I feel like that may be some vibes that you're putting yourself around. Maybe it's other people, maybe that's and it's true of all kinds of social media, but like this is something that's like enclosing and encasing, and where you want to be creative with it, it's much more like it's been held in, so it's pressurized now, and it's getting sporadic, and it's getting untamed and wild. Wild where it should be graceful and strong. Alright. Interesting. Yeah. So, 9 of Diamonds. We're not taking note of the things that we do have, and we're focusing on the negatives, which is like very much just like, yo, gratitude gets you a lot farther. Gratitude will always be much more powerful than wantonness. You draw, like attracts like, so when you are already, feel wealthy and feel grateful and feel the best of all of these kings and queens cards, you start to draw in like, essentially. I mean, the law of attraction shit, but I mean, molecularly that's also true, and I feel like that we're not getting that joy or excitement, and we're like frustrated with how much we feel like we're losing. But it's that raw desire, and it can be cultivated into something beautiful, but when you let it sit like an unfinished project, it gets very mean. Got another 7 here, but it's not the same kind of 7. It's a very different kind of 7. 7 of Clubs versus the 7 of Cups. So we have kind of the reverse of what we had here with the Page of Wands and the King of Pentacles, because we have something tangible in Cups. It's this fluid emotion, something tangible in the Wands, or fucking Clubs, there you go. And then the intangible with the 7 of Cups, because it's emotions and what have you. But this is more like Wands, and more like that fiery kind of vibe. We have 2 7s, which is a great thing. And again, you feel like you're falling just one short. And I promise you, it's so close to being the kind of miracle that's going to be awe-inspiring. Or it is already, honestly, because the Ace is directly in the middle of all of this. So I feel like, again, it's kind of reiterating that, like, yo, it's Corona and you're fucking alive. Like, and maybe you're working, which is a great thing. Or maybe you're not. And that's a source of, like, cool, I'd have less to worry about as far as dying goes. I feel like that awe-inspiring moment is also now, can also be now, is now. And when you recognize that gratitude, and that maybe all of your needs or all of your basic needs are at most met, grateful to be alive, you got food in your stomach, maybe, a roof over your head, internet, because you're watching this, which a lot of people don't have. So grateful for the small things, for sure. The things that nourish you, the things that feed you. And that is also, engaging in those things is what gives us the energy to be alive and to move. So if you're feeling really down on yourself and really like don't want to get out of bed, or I can't carry all of these things, fill your life with gratitude, because it is awe-inspiring. and fill yourself with the things that you love and the things that bring you joy and the things that bring you happiness. And I promise you, you won't feel so tired. Create with all of this energy rather than letting it stay stagnant and staying sick. This is a blood transfusion in a lot of ways, a fire transfusion. There's so much red here, so much dressed in red. And I don't think we're looking in the mirror and seeing that. Or we're not seeing it for its potentiality. We're caught way too much in the wildfires of it and the things that we don't have. The funny thing about these two sevens too is one, he's like dropping a bunch of shit, and the other one, she's shopping. I can say personally that, you know, I've been frugal and what have you since quarantine. But I've also felt very, very wealthy about life. And I think when we start to operate in places of lack and places of wantonness and I don't know, angry that we're not getting that retail therapy, it's never fulfilling. It's never nearly as fulfilling as you think. And she's bleeding on her right side, so I feel like, again, it's like we're not giving our heart what it wants, and it's bleeding out all over us. Right's like art dominant, so like wearing your heart on your sleeve, but I don't think this is deliberate, or she's salivating for more, like she's blood hungry. So, you know, the balance between wanting more and also feeling overwhelmed is difficult right now, because everything's kind of in different literal or tangible parameters. But maybe we're operating in a place of wantonness, of more, not because of what we don't have, but because of what we're comparing ourselves to others. And, you know, it's that widening of the class system as well. You know, so many people have made, or not so many people, a handful of assholes have made a lot of money while we've all been stressed or in lockdown or whatever, or working in some weird situations, and we can't hold our liveliness to those standards, because those are impossible standards. Those aren't even fair standards. Those are standards that shouldn't be a thing, truly. But utmost, you have these miracles in this present moment. Every day is full of miracles when you believe that to be true. And when you have, you know, faith in yourself and faith in creation and gratitude for all the things that you do have, and even from experience, like, oh, you know, shit, quarantine's going crazy or whatever. It also has been a great time for me to reflect on how far I've come from 6 years ago or 10 years ago. It'll be my Saturn return. So adding up all of those lessons and stop comparing them to other people. Because it turns beautiful energy into something very ugly. It turns, you know, this beautiful, strong cat that you could be familiar with into something wild and untamable that you don't want to deal with, because you already feel like you're dealing with too much. But even taming or working with that energy It requires gentility and requires patience and requires you going about it in this gentle, guiding way. Again, not being so hard on yourself. Virgo season's gonna be a bitch. You just gotta remember gratitude and remember to fill your veins with love and joy and process that before it gets old. If you let anything sit too long, it's gonna go rancid. And maybe that's exactly the case. It's like you're letting any inspiration you have sit too long, or picturing it in ways that are not true to where you want to be. It's 11. Be humble, yeah. Go from this blingy chick to humble animal whisper over here. And that's the 2 union of this strength 11. If that makes sense. Yeah. This is hilarious because Queen of Spades reverse is like you have all of this information and you're not doing enough with it. 4 of Diamonds because you're afraid of competition. Jack of Clubs. You're trying to distract yourself with fun, or you're trying to hold on to carelessness, or competition isn't fun either. But this isn't the kind of joy that is, the things that we're dedicated to, the things that give our lives purpose. This is fuckboy, essentially. And yeah, I think if you are afraid of competition or afraid of the hard stuff, that's what keeps you from that balance. That's what keeps you at too much or not enough. And it draws the wrong kind of people, and the wrong kind of vibe, and the wrong kind of environment, and draws not like the opposite of what you want to manifest, just like from the first 3 cards, with that Page of Wands and King of Pentacles. Yeah, I guess if you got fuckboys in your life, cut that shit out. And yeah, they're not fulfilling, and they're distracting you from what you really want to do with your energy. It's like when you leave good food out because you're hooking up with somebody, and like then the next morning you're like, the sex wasn't even great, and now my food is bad or spoiled or whatever. Yeah, and that's not fun. When you can balance all of that out. Balance all of that out. Trust what you feel, because you are a part of the stars and a part of the system, and you're being overrun by other people's energy, which is heavy because of all this crazy fire Mars nonsense too. Yeah, all these people dressed in red, exerting expectations on you, thwarting your plans maybe. Yeah, this shit's rough. But gratitude, and joy and awe-inspiring is here and now. And I think that is paramount to remember. Even if it's something as simple as like you roll your sad ass out of bed, and you look yourself in the mirror and you're just like, you're trying today. It kind of changes the mood, Gratitude can be a game changer, especially when what you're telling yourself is that you're not enough. You are absolutely enough. Just don't let other people dictate that, and don't let other people distract you from where you really want your manifestations to go. I feel like that's pretty solid. And we're not too long. Cool, party on. Yeah, be safe out there, everybody. I'll catch you on the flip side.